Equity gains. This is when you're making a capital gain in the property space. You can either make money by speculating and hoping that over time the value of this property appreciates because you bought it in the right area, or you want to force the appreciation by adding value to the property, by rezoning it, by adding renovations, by putting a granny flat on the back, whatever it requires to force that value to go up. In this quick educational, I'm going to take you through the timed appreciation and forced appreciation model and show you a couple of examples to get you thinking.
I educate people to reach financial freedom through property through cash flow positive investments, specializing in the low income multi-let residential market.
So firstly, we have to understand, where does equity gain sit in our cash flow quadrant? On the top, you've got your landlord. That is all the cash flow strategy. At the bottom is what our equity gain model looks like. So you're either going to be focusing on the equity gain model in your lower income market, which is your innovator strategy, or you're going to be in your more affluent suburb market, being a creative. So equity gain, simply put, is when you make a capital gain on a property. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you found a property and bought it for 800,000. You're aiming then to sell it for 1.5. So the model requires you to buy low, sell high. Now the question is, how do you do that? How do you go from property A to property B? Like, I think the concept is really simple. You're forcing the value, or you're appreciating the value. The question is how. So this strategy requires this thing called appreciation. Now you can appreciate a property in many ways, but the main two ways that I know of is either through time or by forcing the value to go up. Now, your timed appreciation, the one on the left, is where you buy in a really nice area, an area that is up and coming, and over time the value of this property naturally appreciates because there's demand for that area. If I had to think about COVID times, when COVID first hit and people started working from home, the Western Cape grew massively in value, especially the smaller coastal towns. You think of the likes of George, Knysna, Wilderness, Sea Point, Camps Bay, all of these really nice coastal areas. The reason it became so popular is because people were working from home. They didn't want to be in Joburg and stuck in Joburg traffic and stuck with Joburg as the area. They wanted to be by the sea, by the mountain. Now we're seeing the reverse happen. All the people that went from the inlands to the coastal are now going back to the inlands. Why? Because companies are expecting you to work in office. Work from home is not really a big trend. So those are the kind of macroeconomic factors that could influence whether there's appreciation or not. So the reason why I don't particularly like the timed approach is because you are speculating. No one's got that crystal ball to tell you, yes, okay, another COVID's going to come and the coastal market's going to flare up. Within the timed space, I have bought 5 new builds. And the reason I bought these new builds is because I expect them to appreciate. I also want a little bit of diversification away from my low income cash flow market. And also I want to take advantage of the Section 13 Sex Act benefit. But that's the only time that I would recommend the timed approach. Forced appreciation is, in my mind, a much better option. This is where you buy something that's a little bit run down, a little bit unmodern. It's in a good area, but it needs a little bit of work in order for it to be more valuable. This one's a very simple concept to understand. You buy a property, you maybe buy it at market value, maybe you buy it at a slight discount, you sell it at a premium price, and you let time do its thing. 5, 10, 15 years. As I've mentioned, this is speculation. It doesn't really always work. I've decided, for me, I want to have my new build strategy where I'll have a bit of my appreciation play and I'll let time do its thing. Unfortunately, these new builds are negative cash flow. So I've highlighted the section that shows the cash flow. It's negative for 5, 7, 10 years. But what's shown in the green there is the equity growth. Now, when you're working with any developer, they're obviously going to say that, this property is going to appreciate by 5, 10, 15, 20%. They're always going to tell you what they think the appreciation is going to be. You need to do your own research. You need to figure out whether that's true or not. But there is a tendency for your suburbs, your affluent markets to appreciate more than your low income market. Forced appreciation, this is, in my opinion, a much better strategy because you're buying at a discount, you're then selling at a premium price, and you're adding value to the property in order to force that new valuation. And now why I like this one a bit more is because you have a bit more control. You can go and find a property that needs a hell of a lot of work. It needs a new kitchen. It needs to be retiled. The paint on the outside. It needs a new security fence, or the landscape needs to be done. You can figure that out by finding a distressed property. You can get a discount, which is already a big win. And then by forcing the valuation by renovating it, you're going to get a higher price. So as an example, look at this property. This is definitely not the best of photos. Let's give it that as well. But you can see that this property is a little bit dated and it's a bit old. And the bathroom needs a lot of work. Boom. A little bit of renovations, a new kitchen, new tiles, new flooring. This property needed a lot of work, but this is the concept, right? You find something that is a little bit disappointing and you flare it up. And that's how you can get your question mark sorted. So equity gain, in a very simple concept, is when you buy low, you sell high, and you make a capital gain. The strategy requires appreciation. I have done an educational where I go through each one of these two strategies in more detail. So go check out my timed and forced appreciation modules.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Property investing can be scary, and sometimes it's nice to have an experienced, seasoned investor look over your deals. That's why I've created my property coaching program, where I sit with you on a one-to-one basis and help you through the process of buying your first investment property. If this sounds interesting, book a free 15-minute call with me and we'll see if it's the right fit.